Then further back, Last Goodbye. On the back of Newport is Valkyrie Diva coming into it from Emerald Jack, and then Dr. Nip and Tuck. Further back, Unabated Hassle, followed by Serene Sun, and last of all is Life's a Bounty coming around the turn. Duoro Valley from Flash Trek. A length and a half further back than Ulysses, followed by Utility. Newport down the centre from Jacques Lenaif. Then came Unabated in behind those Valkyrie Diva. At the 400 metre mark now, and Flash Trek has gone up to Duoro Valley from Utility. Then Ulysses in a gap in the race to Newport, followed by Unabated and Valkyrie Diva. Over on the inside, Duoro Valley, Flash Trek and Utility on the outside. Jacques Lenaif getting out late, still Duoro Valley in front. Utility starting to pack it back, goes to it now. Utility got it set in front. Utility last stride from Duoro Valley, Flash Trek. Cosy Bay out wide fourth. Then further back...
Well, there you go, Alfie. Utility, Pat Carey, Mark Zahra. It won, of course, as we know, at fair odds over the Carnival.
Yeah, it was probably silly odds over the Carnival, Graham, but nevertheless, it kept the form going. And look, you know, Mark is very, very underrated. And look, we've got so many underrated riders here. I'm glad it's not dominated by perhaps just one or two, because it does spread a little bit, and it's good to see Pat Carey kicking on. But look, of the other runners, Duoro Valley, look, it raced very much forward yesterday. Probably a surprise, but look, there didn't appear to be a great deal of speed on paper initially. That was always going to be a little bit of a query. But then you saw Unabated back last, as opposed to being right up there at Flemington, when in fact it won. It still finished its race off okay. I thought they were overdoing what we considered a track bias yesterday when they were getting too wide, because later in the day, a few of them were ducking back up on the inside and getting the money. But you can see this finishing off very well indeed. Flash Trick stuck to its guns well, and also Cosy Bay, that ran pretty well over in a group race over the Carnival. Look, I don't know where a lot of these horses are going to go now. I would have thought it's the end of the road.
Probably is for most of them, Alf. I thought significantly the first three around the corner or thereabouts were the first three over the line. They probably went too slow early for any of those backmarkers to have much of a hope. Even though the track was playing towards the middle of the track, you would have thought the backmarkers would have had the advantage getting out there, but the pace has been such that they really never got to go on, and these first three around the corner dashed home in the race. So, look, Pat Carey is a very underrated trainer.
That's what surprised me, though, Richard. When you had horses like Newport that drew wide, like, I've got no doubt the only thing that was on Glenn Boss's mind was to try and keep Valkyrie Diva back in. And he then started over racing, pulling hard. Craig, unfortunately, couldn't do much about it. He ran up their backsides too. Both had to check, and both were given no chance after that.
The race was just totally tempo-related. It was just leader-dominated. Backmarkers had no hope whatsoever.
Do you know what? There's... When you're talking about pace and leading jockeys, right, I saw yesterday some disgraceful rides as far as pace goes, with jockeys not knowing how fast they were going or how slowly the field was going. Now, I'm not a jockey. You were, Ronnie. It might be a lot harder to work these things out than it first appear. Alfie, you can surely add into this too. Well, but there are a lot of jockeys have got no idea what the pace is like.
I think most of them are terrified of the trainers after getting instructions to disobey instructions, because if it goes wrong, they don't want to put you on again. Oh, he disobeyed instructions, this horse has got to be ridden back. They're not game to make a decision, some of them, because they'll lose contacts.
No, Ron, you're exactly right there. And look, it might have been a long time ago when I rode, but the simple fact is I was fortunate to ride for David Hayes, that gave you great confidence prior to going out, and Bart Cummings. Now, look, David Hall I never ever got instructions from, but Bart would say, Alf, jump, sit, get it comfortable, get off the fence at the 600 and improve. OK, if they're going slow, for God's sake, make a decision.
Well, I know Lee says exactly the same things to his jockeys. For God's sake, I'll give you instructions, but if you get trapped out wide and you look like you're in trouble, make a decision. Don't just sit there.
That's why Beedman's so dominant. He makes a decision, and he doesn't care, because he's got plenty of contacts anyway. So
you make the wrong decision, OK.
You live by it.
You live with it, and everyone lives with it. But you make the right one, everyone hails you a genius.
As long as you make a decision.
Must make decisions.